Good morning, Scentsy family! Scentsy! Oh, that sucked. I'm sorry. Scentsy! Woo! Okay, let's wake up. I know, that was a long session. Okay, my name is Markowitz. I'm a director with Scentsy Family. Hi! I am actually from Las Vegas, Nevada. They last minute asked me to come and do this session with you guys, so I'm very happy to be here. Kind of threw some stuff together for you, and just like we have to sometimes with our parties, right? Kind of go with the flow. And I am going to actually change my title was Be a Walking Party, which is definitely what you want to do, but I add a little something to it, which is plant a garden with parties, okay? And you'll kind of know what I'm talking about as I go along. A little bit about myself. I started in April of 2011, so I'm coming up on my 3-year anniversary, April 3rd. Woo! Time flies so fast, and so much has happened. My team name is Jesse's Angels Saving Lives, because I truly believe that we can save lives, change lives with this opportunity and the relationships that we have built and that we can build. So that's how I came up with my team name. A story that I'd like to share with you guys to kind of get you through what I'm going to be sharing with you is something that happened before Scentsy. My husband was active duty in the military. We went into the middle of nowhere. It's called Holloman Air Force Base. Town was like this small. Okay, a little tiny little fight. You guys know that. That's how yes, it is. It's just small. I'm from Vegas. Oh my gosh, I know. Okay, so I was really sad when we left. I had no family, no friends, never been away from mommy. I was really depressed. And so my husband got deployed right when we left for 6 months. So I had a 9-month-old baby and a little toddler that was barely 3 years old yet. And I was in the middle of nowhere by myself and very depressed and had nothing to do. I decided to do whatever I could do to keep myself busy because the days just kind of ran into each other. And I, again, was trying to fight depression for my kids because they needed mommy. They didn't understand that, why I was sad. So I basically looked in my backyard and was like, we had a beautiful, it was a good-sized backyard. And I was like, I want to put a play set there so they can go play. I'm going to plan out my days, playtime, lunchtime. The days are going to go by faster. But then I looked at the backyard, and it was all brown and ugly, and I'm actually going to show you a picture of it. See, it wasn't very pretty, right? It was like dead grass, and if there are patches of wannabe grass and dirt. I'm like, I don't think my babies I don't want them playing in that. So I got a bright idea of like, okay, maybe I can like grow some grass or something. Never grew anything in my life before, but I was like, I got nothing to do. Maybe I can learn. But then I thought back and I said, well, I had a plant once when I was a kid and it died like the next day or something. So immediately I started to doubt myself. But then I thought about 6 months, 6 long months by myself. So I go, I guess I can try it. What do I have to do? Okay, the first step is to go buy the seeds. I don't know what seeds, but I'm gonna go buy them. Then I'll walk across the backyard and just start throwing seeds down. I found out later I'm supposed to like rake the rocks out, but I didn't know that, and like level it out and all that stuff, but I didn't know that. I just did what I did. And so I set a timer. I was like, okay, I know I'm supposed to water it like once a day, I think. So, okay, I'll do it in the morning and just let it go, and then the baby would be crying and the milk would spill and it'd be like a flood out there and it'd be really ridiculous. But then I realized, I was like, okay, so I set the alarm to remind me to turn it on. Maybe I should set my alarm to turn it off. And so after about, let's see, it took a couple months, but I got it down. I was, okay, at 9:30 in the morning, I turn it on, 9:45, I turn it off. Then at night, right when the kids go down for 15 minutes, I turn it on and then I turn it off. And before I knew it, this was my backyard. Green, plush grass. Okay? But I want to share with you what motivated me to actually go through with it. And it's the funniest things. Kids are amazing. I thought about, right before we moved to Holloman, we were in Las Vegas, and my son was going to daycare because I had a full-time job. And he came home with he was 18 months old, and every time I see this picture, I want to cry, with a little cup with soil and some seeds, and he had been growing it for the last, I guess, month or so, and he came home and he goes, "Look, Mommy, I grew grass." So then I said, well, if my 18-month-old baby can grow grass, maybe I can. So that's what motivated me to actually grow my grass. And then, let's fast forward, probably about a year I was at Holloman before I was blessed with the opportunity. And very doubtful still, couldn't find a job. And I realized, wow, this business is kind of like growing a garden, planting seeds everywhere you go. And it starts with the parties. All right. But the first thing we have to do is change our mindset, because that's literally what will make or break you. Now, I've heard this little rumor that nobody wants to book parties in California. Has anybody heard that? Is that coming from you? Raise your hands high so I can hear you. Okay, nobody wants to book parties, really? Honestly, be proud and say it.
They will book them.
Okay.
They just won't hold them.
They won't hold them. Okay. So by show of hands, how many in the audience actually were hostesses before you became a consultant? Okay, so I'm going to actually count you guys since we're a small crowd. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So about 20 of you, I would say, and there's maybe about 45 of you right now. So that's almost half of this room that was a hostess before you became a consultant. So I'm going to ask you one more thing by show of hands. How many were, actually, I lied, I'm going to ask you a couple questions. How many were hostesses of a home party?
Any?
Just a home party, not a basket party, not an online party. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So it's about 15. So half of you were of those parties. And then who did basket parties or online parties only? Okay, so about 7 of you. All right, so I need some volunteers. Yay! Oh my goodness! Okay, I am going to pick the one in the pink, and the one in the gray, and the one in the purple way back there with the big star, big green star. Yeah. Yay! They're so excited. This is awesome. I know, give them a hug. Oh, really? No party this way? Oh! Okay, Sue. Well, still, you know what? She's still going to be useful because, Sue, you are awesome. Well, congratulations on your new business. She just signed up to 29. That is awesome. Okay, and Christina, where are you from?
San Diego.
San Diego. And Sue, where are you from?
Riverside.
Riverside. Okay, and then, oh God, I love these badges. Christine, I'm sorry. Okay. Where you're obviously from San Diego as well. Okay, so I'm going to ask you three to do three things for me. Well, actually, one individually. All right, how about you guys come over here, and I'm going to come down so you guys can be the spotlight. Okay, so we can all see you guys. All right, so we're going to start with you. Think of your very first memory when you were a kid that makes you happy whenever you think about it. And then share it with us.
My very first memory when I was a kid was every weekend, every summer, every vacation we possibly had, my older sister and I would go to our grandparents' house and spend all that time with them.
Wow.
Being at home was a terrible thing for us.
Oh, that's great.
Grew up in a broken family, so.
So you felt safe?
Very safe, very safe.
What were some things that they did to make you feel safe?
Everything. We got treated like we were special when we visited our grandparents.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so.
Thank you for sharing that, Sue.
Okay, clap. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Christina, the same question, please.
That's a hard one because I'm pretty forgetful. So
First thing that comes to your mind.
First thing that comes to my mind is my dad plays the guitar, and then so does my brother, and I didn't grow up with him, he grew up with his mom, broken family too. Anyway, so my dad would play, and then my brother would come over, he would play too, and we'd all have, sit around together, and just like the music and the family was just, I remember all smiles across the room.
Did you play with them or just your brothers and your dad?
My dad started teaching me, yeah, so.
And you know how to play now?
Some.
Did you bring your guitar?
No. Old MacDonald,
Yay!
I think one of the first ones that pops up to my mind is when we used to go with my mom to her softball games, because we would all just go, and eventually I ended up playing softball, but she started me just by watching and learning from her, and now she can't do it because she's been in like 5 car accidents and had surgeries, and so I feel like I miss that, but she's taught me, and now my daughter, she's in T-ball and I teach her.
Aww.
Stop it! I'm gonna cry.
I know, it's like, of course we're gonna cry. Okay, so I thank you ladies for following, I appreciate that. Okay, so I wanna know what you guys think why I asked them to answer those questions. Anybody just raise their hands, yes.
Because when you feel that comfort, you know how to suggest it to somebody else and make them feel comfortable and part of the situation.
Very true. Okay, yes, absolutely. Is there any other ideas? Yes. Yes. Any others? Yes.
To show that we can all come from different places, but we still have things in common. Like no matter if it's little things or big things that happen in our lives that we have a connection with. Really? Some of the same things have happened to them that they don't want to talk about, but since you said it, oh, that happened to me.
Yes. So you could relate to each other. And then, so what is all of that? What are we doing when we're sharing things and asking the questions? Building relationships, right? Okay, so does anybody recognize that warmer? What's that warmer, Crystal?
The warmer of the month last year.
What was it called?
Yes.
Green thumb. Okay, something I didn't think I had. I actually had a black thumb. Remember, like I said, I killed my one plant I had. And I realized that after that challenge that I took to get to, just find out what I needed to do and got to know my grass and my watering system better, and I knew what it needed. And after time, I knew exactly what needed to happen for my grass to grow. And it's the same thing with people. We need to ask questions. We need to get to know the people that are in front of us. And so the home parties is where we're going to get those connections. They kind of stole my thing. Did you guys know why I knew their names? I never met any of you guys before, right, that were up here? Except for Christine, I did. Yes, everybody had name tags. And so they brought that up. I was like, man, they took it from me. But no, but the thing is that it's so important, not only so you know their name, but for you to have yours so they can know you. And like they said, that's absolutely true. It kind of breaks that barrier, because when you feel like somebody knows your name, you're a little bit more willing to talk to them, right? But if you're just like, hey, I'm the Scentsy consultant, they're not going to tell you about their childhood or what their personal, issues are, why they can't buy that warmer. The reason why I have the green thumb there is because I personally feel that this company has a purpose with everything they do. To me, the message that I got with that green thumb is that we are all gardeners, planting gardens that grow over time, and as long as we're taking time to nurture and love and have the patience and persistence, like they said, to let it grow and let everybody grow at their own pace. Because if any of you guys know me, a little bit of my story is that I went full blown. I went, I'm hitting for the stars. I made director in 4 months really fast and grew a huge team before I even knew what it really meant. And, everybody's and a lot of my team members were actually, comparing themselves to me. Well, gosh, I've been in it 4 months and I don't have that big of a team. What's wrong with me? But we're all unique seeds. And I brought this. Does anybody know what this might be?
Seeds.
It's seeds. Take a guess how many's in here.
20.
Anybody else? 1,000.
Wow.
1,000 seeds are in this little tiny little package. And guess what? It has the potential to grow these beautiful sunflowers that are so friendly, that each and every one of them are our friends and people that are going to help change your life. So the idea with home parties is always to be able to get to know your group and them to get to know you. Because do we want to buy and support and connect with and talk to people that we don't know? Do you feel comfortable doing that? Does anybody? Nobody does? Because by show of hands? You do? You feel comfortable talking to people you don't?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, well that's good, but the majority, we don't, right? We're a home-based business, so they have to connect with us, and we have to connect with them in order to get their products again, right? So with everybody's busy lives, they have to take the time, and there has to be effort in order to connect with us and make that appointment to see us, right? Are they going to do that if they don't know who we are and they have no relationship with us? No. They're going to forget about the experience we had, because all you are is just that chick that gave, or that guy that gave the products that I loved. And they're going to find it somewhere else. So at the home party is where we have a chance to build that relationship. Now, how do you think that we can do that? Volunteers, let's get interactive here, guys. This is a powwow session. Let's get some ideas going. Who has an idea? How do you get to know your customers at a party? Yes? Sharing your own stuff, like the product, like sharing what? Elaborate, please.
Personal information, some form of situation or circumstance, like flowers that are growing out in front of your house or anything.
Yes, let them get to know you as a person. Wow, you're not just a Scentsy consultant, or you're an actual human being. Okay, yes.
Be interactive. Don't just have it in your corner and talk to people. The communication. If you don't communicate, then you are just going to be labeled as that consultant.
And how would you go about doing that?
Anything, in fact, I just met my group this morning, and the first thing I did was, hey, what's your name? I'm Lisa, I'm slightly annoying, and I'm loud.
Say it like it is. That's awesome. Definitely, yes.
You can always be like, oh my gosh, I love your earrings, or I like your shirt, what's your favorite kind? And you're like, oh yeah, this flush out there too, I got this and this, or just something to relate to what they're wearing, or something that they like, because obviously they like that, that's why they bought it.
Yes.
To open up a conversation.
And what are you doing when you're doing that? When you're
Building rapport.
and you're complimenting them. You're building that self-esteem, like, you know what, I do look good. I do have good taste. I like you. Let's talk. Okay, yes?
Maybe a game, like a silly little icebreaker game.
Yeah, what, do you have one that you've done?
Like popping a balloon. You either pair up, or first person to pop the balloon and get their slip of paper gets a free sample, or get something like that, just to get everybody laughing.
So they all have undeflatable balloons. They all blow them up, and whoever pops it first gets a prize.
It and pops it gets a prize.
Awesome. Oh yeah, that one's a fun one. Go ahead.
Kind of piggyback off what she said is I play the brown bag game.
Okay.
It has like the 10 questions. Okay, who has the longest last name? Who has the most kids? Who's been married the longest? It's a really good way to get to know everyone, because everyone's like, well, I have 5 kids, or I have 2 kids, or I have 1 kid, or I've been married for 25 years. I've been married for 2 years. You learn a lot about everyone really quickly.
Absolutely. And then with games, what is that also going to be? What purpose is that in the end? Besides getting to know them, what is... I'm sorry?
Making it fun.
Well, that's important. It's called party. They're expecting to have some fun, right? Okay. But what else is it for you as a consultant? Yes?
It can be educational.
Yes. Absolutely, to learn about everything. The products, the company. Yes?
I was going to say getting product in their hand.
absolutely, to get that product in their hands. So they may not want a hand soap. They may not, I am so Bath & Body Works. I don't want layers. I don't know what that is, and I don't want it. But then they get to win it, and it's in their hands. They're going to pop it open, and they're going to use it, and they're going to fall in love with it. So yeah, using prizes that are actually not something that is the go-to of what people are going to buy. But it's very important to get to know these people. How, are you a veteran? Have you been buying for longer than I've been a consultant and a customer itself? What do you know about it? Do you know you can actually learn the most about your business from your customers? People will, and they feel so good when they can tell you something. Oh, I know that answer. I know that name of that warmer. You don't. Oh my gosh, I don't. You are awesome. And they feel like, oh, I'm better than she is. So it's it's true. People like to feel like they're better than the next person, and whether we like to admit it, we do our poses in our hand, in our little heads when we do something. So let them have their moment. Let them tell you, and you know what they're doing? They're selling for you. Well, they're like, oh, this is what I do, and this is what I do, and this is where I put mine, and blah 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 blah, and my husband loves it, and da 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 da. You're just sitting back like, yay, amen, sister. You tell it. She knows what she's talking about. All right. So what is that making your job do? Be more simple. Yes, it's easier. Remember simplicity? The business is really simple as long as we let it be. We don't try to be I have to do this and I have to do that and I have to do this and this is the way I have to do it, and oh my gosh, this lady's talking and she's ruining my day and I was supposed to say this and oh my gosh, what do I do? We have to go with the flow and let our party be a party and just let it happen. You've been raising your hand.
That's all right. It's just I do a card game with the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I open the book and find something interesting. I say, okay, on page, or what page is the service and sacrifice warmer on? So everybody then spends 5 minutes going through the book, looking through the catalog and finding the warmer. And they get a card for that. And so part of the book has been revealed. They get a card, and at the end of the game, everybody adds up their points, and whoever has the most points gets a prize.
Awesome.
And it's a great way to, and people do exactly what you were talking about as you're going through the book. Oh, this is so cool. This reminds me of such and such. And oh, I didn't know they did that. And
Absolutely. Our products, they put smiles on people's faces. Even if they come there mad. Oh, I totally wanted to go out with my boyfriend tonight, but my sister brought me here. I'm so mad right now. But then all of a sudden, oh, but this reminds me of my boyfriend. Oh, and he's leaving for 6 months with the Marines. Oh, I gotta get this. So it's a fun, friendly, I'm talking about Scentsy fragrance, but Velada and Grace Adele does the same thing. It really does. Whether you're a jewelry person or a handbag, I'm a bag lady, I have to admit it, but whether you're that person or not, once you feel like you got something that fits you, you feel confident, right? You stand a little bit taller, which is good for me because I'm only 5 foot, so it's good when I stand taller. And so it's something that we could do. We always are putting happiness into people's lives, but how are we going to do that? By all the stuff we just said. Getting to know them, because each and every one of you are individuals. We're all individual people, and what's going to make me excited might not make you excited. So it takes time, and just like the garden takes patience, it's not going to be overnight. So that home party is a seed. It's planting a seed. It's just the beginning. We have to remember that. Okay, so when we tell ourselves, or we even listen to when people are saying nobody wants to book a party, and I'm going to get to, don't worry, I will get to what you said, Patty. What's going to happen, or what's not going to happen? Okay. Exactly. If you say nobody wants to book a party, then nobody wants to book a party. Why? Exactly. And what actions are not going to happen? you're not going to ask anybody. If you're saying, well, nobody wants to book a party, you think you're going to be taking actions to go, whoa, hi, how are you? Let's book a party. You're thinking they're not booking a party, right? Okay. So I must be not very fun because the guy in the back is sleeping. This sucks. Okay. I see you. Okay. All right. So actually, you brought up a good thing. I wanted to share a game that is going to be the biggest key at every party. Now, you need to be flexible, especially when you're doing great and you're doing those perpetual parties that everybody's booking off each other and like everybody's coming to the same party. So you have to be flexible and learn different key games that work for you. I still haven't got an answer of why playing games are important to our business. Yes?
Referrals?
Yes, very good. Referrals. What? Yes.
And you can find out about what they need, because when they're interacting, like I played the one where, if you've got it in your purse and all the, people would talk about different things. And so I was able to think about what their needs were to be able to satisfy them.
Absolutely. Yes. Way in the back.
Makes you memorable.
Very, very true. Yeah, I had fun with that lady. Yes. Go ahead.
Depending on the game that you play, it can lead to more bookings.
Yes.
Games break down anything that keeps people socially awkward or cuts them off, makes them not want to interact with other people. Everybody feels confident playing a game. And so
Yeah.
that brings us back to our childhood.
Thank you.
Everybody back up.
Yes. And?
Everyone loves to win.
Everybody loves to win. Yes. And I saw one more hand.
Well, it opens up for, so you know who that knows about Scentsy and wants to learn more about it.
Okay.
So it opens up to more recruits.
Very true. Yes, JoJo.
It helps you get an idea of the different types of things that maybe you can try offer them, like if they like the different kinds of scents and stuff like that.
Yes. You're definitely going to get to know your crowd through parties. But one thing as a consultant, why I'm a big believer. Now, not everybody does well, first of all, let me find out. Is there anybody in here, and it's okay. It's okay. Remember authenticity. We're all unique. That does not play games at parties. Be honest. It's okay. All right, so we've got about 6 people. That's great. And you know what? You guys are all here, and you're all probably rocking your business anyways. But I'm going to share with you why games are important for me. Remember back that story? I needed to know exactly what I needed to do and know where I needed to go and what time and this and that. For me, games give me a purpose and an agenda of what I'm trying to accomplish at my party. I am looking for my next hostess, and I'm looking for my next consultant. So the games are what remind me to find them. Because as you know, every party is different, right? Am I right? Raise your hands if that's true. Okay? Why is every party different? Different people, different hostesses. Some hostesses are like, I don't want you to play any games. That's just not my friends. They don't want that. Okay. So you've got to be able to adjust. So they're all different. Okay? But when you're able to throw them in there, this game is something that they don't even realize they're playing a game. Okay? Everybody plays it differently, but the way I use this is to get them to be excited about winning something fun. Whether they're interested in what I'm saying or not, I offer a card for anybody that asks me a question throughout the entire evening with every party. Now, why is that going to be different every time we go to a different party, whether it's the same crowd bouncing from everybody's parties? Different questions, right? Different people, different questions, yeah.
It actually gets to be kind of fun when you're doing one of those perpetual parties, because the same people are now trying to outdo each other.
Yes. Because they know what that result is. They're like, I'm going to get that prize. I got a question. Oh, yeah, that's the funnest. And you know what? Here's a secret. The people that are asking the most questions aren't necessarily the ones that are your next best hostess or your next best consultant. But what are they doing for you? Yeah, they're finding your next hostess and your next consultant for you. Because this is the funniest thing. One of my first parties, not one of my first parties, but one of most memorable, I found my first director at this party, and she wasn't the one asking the questions at all. She was sitting there with a smirk on her face. Honey, whatever. And what I'm thinking in my head is, oh gosh, this lady either hates me or she's making fun of me, she wants to leave, I don't know what. But all these other people were asking questions, and they were asking questions that she didn't know she wanted to know. And guess what? I answered them. And so by the end of the night, when I saw her kind of, doing her little, I just was bold, and I said, what are you laughing at? You just want to do what I do, don't you? And she goes, maybe. I was like, whoa, what? I wasn't expecting that answer. And now she's the director of my team. And she's amazing. Guess what? She's one of my dearest friends. And she lives in Alaska. And I live in Las Vegas. And I can't wait to see her every year. Or maybe sometimes twice a year when we go on incentive trips together. So you don't know who's in your crowd. She's a very blah, 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 once you get her going, but you wouldn't have known that. So the cards bring things out, and it helps you do your job and keeps it simple. Okay, yes?
What's in your deck of cards?
Okay, I love your question.
30.
So, the back of these cards are all the places I've traveled with Scentsy, the different locations of conventions and spring sprints and incentive trips, because I've earned every trip since I've started for my husband and I. And that's huge. I was crying when Cindy was saying that. I was like, oh my God, I would have never gone on a trip with my husband either if it wasn't for Scentsy. And that means a lot, because life is busy and it's expensive, and you got children, and you just forget about you. And Scensy's like, no, you are important. If you don't have a week to yourself, you're not going to have the energy to keep up with your kids for the rest of the year. And I got that at my incentive trip. That was the message I got was, wow, they're good. I told you, everything they do is for a purpose. So you really have to pay attention to these messages they're giving you. That one, you deserve it because you work hard, and you're giving blessings to people every day. So why not get blessed back, right? That's the way I look at it. Okay, so let me make sure.
How should you get those pictures on back of the cards?
How did I get them?
So explain how.
Okay, that's my superstar director. She's awesome. Okay, so, okay, everywhere I go, which I recommend all of you too, if you guys traveled out of, your area like I did, I'm going to pick up a deck of cards with on the back, it says Ontario, California. When I went to Costa Rica, I got some. When I went to Punta Cana, I got some. When I went to Indianapolis and Texas for Austin, everywhere I've gone, New Mexico, which was where I started my business, but I still picked up a deck of cards. So it starts, when these people are gathering these cards, you can ask them to flip them over and ask them a question. What do you think all these places are? Yeah. Does any of these places on these cards look like somewhere that you'd want to go? Has anybody ever been there before? And you're going to get people that are like, I go every month, every year I got a timeshare, so I ain't interested. And that's fine. That doesn't, not everybody's going to be interested in an incentive trip because they go all the time. And you're like, well, dang, I'm jealous, okay. But I got to work hard to go to mine. But, they might be interested in something else. We saw some really great videos in the general session of people that have professional careers. They're not like the dodo of the world, and that's the only reason they got Scentsy. It's because there's so many ways this business can bless them. Now, okay, let's go back to our wonderful volunteers. What were they sharing with us that is the same thing that a hostess can get? Okay, so let's remember what they all said. They all pretty much said when they go back to their childhood, they were with their family, and it made them feel safe and happy, right? So at a party, when we grow up, life gets tough. You have your sister down the street, and you haven't seen her in 6 months, right? Because life is so busy. It brings people together, the people that you get to not see all the time. So We have to make it about them, not about you. Will you book a party for me, please? I don't care. Why? This is free. They don't want to do something for you, especially when they don't know you that well yet. Okay? But remember that garden? Over time, it took me over a year for one of my closest friends to actually book a party for me. She knew me for 3, but I moved back. I went to New Mexico for 2 years, came back, and then for a full year, she saw me what I was doing. Good for you, girl. I'm so proud of you. Oh, I'm going to have to do that one day. I need to see what you do. For a year, she told me that. But I didn't give up. One day we're going to book a party, and I found the right time. What I found out through asking questions and getting to know her is that she doesn't like to receive free stuff. It's weird. But so when one of our close friends actually got really sick. Their nephew got really sick. He was a brain tumor and in the hospital. And so I said, you know what? We need to do a fundraiser. And this would be a fantastic time for you to host a party. And all of everything that I earn, I'm going to donate to that family. And she goes, her eyes lit up like a Christmas tree. That's a great idea. All of a sudden, she had 40 people at her party. I'm like, where have these people been for over a year? You know, but sometimes it takes that long. And I had to hit the right nerve with her. So just like a garden, you have to water it and love it and nurture it and find out why it's not growing. It was me. I wasn't asking the right questions. And she was one of my closest friends. Okay, now enough of me talking. I want to hear from you guys. I'm going to throw myself out there and I'm going to do some scenarios with you. Kind of just, you throw some scenarios at me that you guys are struggling with and I'm going to share with you how I would handle them. Does that sound good? No, you guys are so bored right now. Oh my God. I'm just kidding. Yes.
I have a question about the card game.
Yes.
That's the game that I play.
Okay.
What do you say when someone asks you what you make?
What I make?
Yeah. What's your paycheck?
Well, I'm a big believer that it's what you put into it, and everybody's is different. And so that's when you're going to get to, I start talking to them of like, well, how much time are you looking to put into this? What do you do for a living? You know, I want to know more about you before I can tell you that. Because, do you have a full-time job? You got kids, which is a full-time job. Yeah. I didn't know how full-time it was until I was a stay-at-home mom. It was easy when you get to drop them off at the daycare and then pick them up and just have dinner and tuck them in at night. Mommy! Give me a break. Okay. So yeah, it's really about getting to know them, because if they're not willing to work and put the time into it, they're not going to make as much money, right? So I share my story that I had no money coming in. We were broke. I exhausted my unemployment, and we realized how broke we were when we couldn't even afford milk. I was like in the fetal position in the kitchen crying, like, oh my gosh, this is a nightmare. And so I had no choice to then make this a business and make an income out of this. So I'm going to put more work into it faster than the next person, right? So you have to find out, well, what are your needs? My sponsor found out before I knew she was a consultant. She was just chatting with me, and I was pretty much depressed and being like, we shouldn't even be here. We can't afford the gas. And so she knew that I needed money, right? And that I was a stay-at-home mom, and so it was easier for her to talk to me about the, how much time and where I can plug it in. Because as consultants and coaches, because you're really a coach, do you guys know that? You guys are coaches of how you do what you do. Who has full-time jobs here? Wow, you guys are awesome. So I don't know if I could do it with a full-time job. I'm just kidding. No. I don't know if I could do what I do, but I'm teasing. No, I have a ton of people, and I think it's amazing because it shows how you guys are wondering. See that little bag right there? Is anybody curious why that bag's sitting there? Wonder Woman. Yes, it just shows everybody. That's what I'm doing in my head right now. So there's a story behind the bag itself. 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. Excuse me. The same person that I met, that director I met at the party. I was listening to a training call. Do you guys listen to training calls?
Yes.
Do you? Raise your hands so I can see you guys. Okay. Before I go on to that, why do you listen to training calls?
I do it for many reasons, really. It motivates me.
Okay, for motivation.
Inspiration.
Inspiration.
Especially like the training call right before my next meeting, I may use that one to bring to my girls, so I can train them to do so.
To get tools to help other people. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's mainly what I do.
Give you ideas.
Give me ideas, yeah.
So I was a Saturday call that I was listening to. The person on the call said, "Do you know your neighbors?" And I was like, "Well, I heard this story before. I did it when I launched. I didn't know anybody. Remember, I had no family and friends, so I had to go knocking on people's doors. But and I actually, can you stand up, Victoria? She's from New Mexico, where I met, and where I started my business. And because I knocked on her sponsor's door, she said, "No, yeah, no, you are her sponsor. That's the cool thing about it. You ended up joining before Jessica did." And so because I knocked on her door, this is what the training call told me. There was a scratch and sniff of Flutter, that was April's 2011's, my favorite, on the car, and she literally told me, "I only came to your party because you put that scratch and sniff on, because I wanted to buy that scent." And she ended up booking a basket party, and then she bought from it. And then she calls me saying, "Can I have one of those myself?" And I was like, yeah. And then I found out she was going to a wedding in like Texas, right? And she ended up bringing a basket, and then she decided she wanted to have her own home party. And I saw what an amazing leader, natural leader she is. Just she was so like, "Okay, we're doing this, we're doing that." And I was like, "Girl, you gotta be on my team." And here she is, she's a superstar consultant. Yay! Okay, so on a call, I heard to do that. And that was my first experience. Then this other call said, "Do you know your neighbors?" I said, "Well, I do, but I don't know all my neighbors." And so I knew I had a party booked because every month I do my own party, which I recommend to all of you guys, especially because we have the new spring catalog coming out. It is the time to launch your business all over again. I don't care if you've been in the business for 10 years. It is time to launch your business again because we have the best catalog ever. And I had a party booked, and so it was like a Wednesday. I grabbed warmers, I grabbed scents, I grabbed invitations, and I walked my neighborhood. Right before, or actually, I got slammed the doors in my face 7 times. Like slammed. And I was just like, that is just hurtful. You don't slam the door on people. And I was about to stop. Okay, I was like, I can't do this anymore. This is just, I need to get a little pride on this, you know. Then I said, you know what, I'm going to go to one more person. So I knocked on the door, and a smiling face was on the other side. And I gave her a warmer, and I invited her to try for a week in her home to introduce the products to her. And I said, if you like this, I would love for you to come to my party at the end of the week, and then I'll talk to you more about it. Well, she came, and she ended up booking a party because she wanted to introduce her friends and family to this opportunity, which is where I met Heather, the director that I met. So there's so many different ways to book parties, but it's about challenging yourself, training yourself about all the different tools and ways that all these other people are doing it. Because if we don't have constant motivation and new ideas, remember, I already did it before, but it was like 6 months later. Was I gonna knock on somebody's door if somebody didn't tell me to? No, I wasn't thinking to do that. So let's do some more, let's do the interactive thing. We've got like 10 minutes. 15. Go ahead.
Trying to get people to keep coming. The problem we have is that people will book parties, and there will be 20 people that say they'll come, and 2 show up. Yeah. And then they're like, oh, I just need a bulb, and that's it.
It has to do with the preparation, I do have to say. Do you mail out like personal invitations?
I've offered, and they always say, no, I'll just Facebook it.
Okay, and do you connect with them as far as like in the process of where they're at and how they've been connecting with their customers, excuse me?
I guess not really. I invite my friends and they invite their friends, and I always share the warmer of the month, scent of the month on the page, and tell them about like all the specials and everything, and then just no one ever comes.
Unfortunately, a Scentsy, Grace Adele, and Volata party isn't everybody's #1 thing on their list. We just have to admit that. And like a garden, like I'm always going to refer back to that, is every party that you attend, if you have one person that shows up, that's a seed that you don't know what's going to bloom into. Now, if you're in this to get in and get out and you're done and you think you're going to build a whole garden with one party, I'm going to tell you that you're going to be disappointed. It's about every single person that crosses your path and making the most out of it. Now, we as consultants, hostesses don't know how to do parties. We have to consult them. Do you take the time to coach them, to sit down and talk about why it's important to connect with them? You do? Yeah. Okay, so, that's one thing we can't control of what the actual outcome is. As long as we put our effort in, that's the only thing we can control. Now, if we're trying to control what other people are doing, you're going to be running around like a rat in a little ball thing. So we have to be consistent with what we do, and then the outcome is what the outcome is, and it's all the way we look at it. If we look at it as only 2 people showed up, it's going to be a negative thought process in our brain. Instead, wow, 2 people? You know what? This is going to be more intimate. I get to know the 2 of you more. Now you're going to have 2 more solid customers that you have an actual relationship with. It's harder when you have 20 people in the room to sit down. Okay, let's get to know you and blah, blah, blah. You do your best, but everybody's like, I got to go. I want to place my order, So when it's smaller, it's more intimate. So it's just the way you look at it. If you're going to look at things in a negative way, then that's what it is. Yes?
Can I share a story real quick?
Yeah. Here, let me see if I can reach so they can actually hear you since it's a story.
Okay, so I went to a fair that my now director was at, and I told her, I said, I can't stay because I have my stroller and my kids all running around. I said, I can't stay, but I want to book a party. Of course, that's every consultant's dream, right? Just asking to book a party. So I booked a party, and I canceled on her once, and I said, I'm so sorry, I just don't have anybody coming. She said, that's okay, no problem, we'll reschedule. Rescheduled, I was really sick. So I said, I'm so sorry to do this. I know it probably sounds kind of hokey, but I'm really sick and I just can't hold the party. She said, it's okay, we'll reschedule. So we rescheduled for a 3rd time. It was me and my best friend. That was it. We're both consultants now.
There you go.
So even when there's just 2 people, and the thing was, when she came over, I've done direct sales before, and I said to myself, there's no way that I can even ask my husband to invest more money. Not gonna happen. So anyways, I ended up asking him about it, and he was like, okay, I guess, And then my director was awesome. She had, of course, my friend sign up under me, immediately built me as a team. She could have taken her as a recruit for herself, but she didn't.
No, that's a fantastic story. I'm glad you shared that because you never know. I'm going to get to you in 2 seconds. I have 3 minutes. I just want to share with you really fast to finish the Wonder Woman bag story. Because of those 2 experiences walking my neighborhood, I am so proud to say because of Scentsy, my husband and I just built our dream house and we got to move into a beautiful neighborhood, beautiful house with everything we've ever dreamed about. And so because of that experience, guess what we did? We knocked on our neighbors' doors. And Amy is one of my now dearest friends. We actually became really good friends. And then over time, by watching what I'm doing, which she didn't even want to buy for me, she didn't want to come to my parties. She's like, I got things to do. Oh, don't even start with me. As we became friends, she was like, I'll come. And she was actually shocked that only 2 other people showed up. She's like, oh, Miss Director? She was thinking there was going to be like a whole crowd. I'm like, no, not really. And we were able to get more intimate, and she learned about things that she never knew about the company because I took the time to our kids play together, we rely on each other. I gotta go doctor's appointment, and can you take my kid to here, and blah, 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 I don't feel good. this business exposes us to things that we would do that we would never think to do. And now we have friendships in our own neighborhood. We get to share this together. And Amy actually gave me that for my 33rd birthday in August. And it's funny because she was like so excited when she saw a Wonder Woman show up on the screen, because that's like her chick. That's like, she's like, oh, I like this company. But now I'm almost done, I promise. Inside that bag, I call that my blessing bag. And that's how I let people at my parties get to know who I am. I share with them visuals of everything how this business has changed. Well, not everything, you can't fit it in a bag, but the really big things, how this company has changed my life. And I will say, I'm gonna just pull out the biggest one. This is, remember we couldn't even buy milk before I joined? So my son has been a baseball fan since he could walk and hold a ball. And that was a big dream of my husband and I, to be able to put him in baseball, okay? And so obviously if we couldn't buy milk, we definitely couldn't spend $110 just to register our kid for baseball, right? Well, because of Scentsy, not only he's been on the baseball team for the past 3 years, but we got to sponsor our kids' team. And they were the Angels, and that Jesse's Angels. So that is like one of the biggest accomplishments, I think. It's still, to this day, I'm surprised I'm not crying. I'm crying inside right now. But anyways, so people get to know that I'm just a mom. I'm a mom that wants to put food on the table, and I have the American dream of being able to sit in the bleachers and watch baseball with my kid and not have to say, sorry, I have to work. So let people know who you are and why this business is important to you at your parties, because that's why they're going to stay loyal to you, and they're going to feel comfortable calling you when they need more wax or another clutch or some more chocolate. Okay, thank you so much.